He might not be from Krypton, but he's heads above the rest. His knowledge can't be questioned. You can put it to the test. So if you want to hear the truth and have nowhere else to go, I'll give you the solution. Just tune into his show and just kneel before Zod. Kneel before Zod. Kneel before Zod. Kneel before Zod.
And welcome everybody back to the Fandom Zone. It is the most earth-shaking, groundbreaking, but kind of media show money-taking. The man, the myth, the legend, the most electric villain in all of YouTube entertainment today, Mr. Zod. Welcome back today. Father Zod actually allowed me to take his time slot so that I can have these great guests. There's normally two of you, but I heard the other one. So, Force of Light Entertainment, who has an amazing channel, and today we're going to have a chat with them. So before I get started and I jump into the interview, first off, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. I mean, for a Monday, I suppose. How about yourself?
I'm off on a Monday. I love starting on Tuesday, so
It really is nice. If you having Mondays off makes the week so much better.
yeah, because it feels, I don't know. I've been doing like Monday through Fridays pretty much my whole life, and then I got the security gig, and they're like, "Oh, what days do you have off? We'll give you Sunday and Monday." And I go, well, first I was like, "Oh, that's weird," but then as it started happening, I'm like, I like this starting work on Tuesdays thing. It doesn't feel like Monday. I'm ready to go.
It really is nice. So yeah, having Mondays off. Like Fridays are fine to have off. That's nice too, but there is something special about not having to go to work on Monday.
So my condolences
for Monday work.
But before I get going here, let's see who we got in the chat. Justice for Deb, how are you? K3 or Coffee? My bestest buddy, how are you? I hadn't seen you on Twitter, but then again, I don't blame you because I'd like to disappear from Twitter. But alas, I can't because then things don't get out and, the multiverse. Haley, what's up? How are you doing? Good to see you. Geekocidal Tendencies, what is up? You had a bet I was going to be late. Ha! I did not disappoint. I was late. I come on. The day I'm on time, I'm going to throw all you guys off. Rebecca, how are you? Keely Chow, good to see you. Good to see you. Sarah Cat. Hey, Sarah Cat. Sarah Wells. Sorry. My bad. Cherry K, the amazingest, greatest mod of all time. I will argue with any mod out there. Cherry K is so wonderful in dropping links and doing all of that stuff. So, and Justin, okay.
Yeah, that's our friend. Justin is lost. Hey, Justin.
Hey, wow. Thank you. Hopefully I do a good job, Justin. So, welcome everybody. Today is this is the interview segment where I interview YouTubers. You guys know what I'm going to do here. We're going to talk to Force of Light Entertainment, and why I invite them is because it's really interesting to find females in fandom who are passionate and actually know what the hell they're talking about. That is always good. And B, I was watching the stuff on your channel. I like to lurk into different channels, and I noticed that you said a lot of things that I agree with, but the way you come at particular topics, you guys come at it from a very something I haven't seen. For instance, with the media, they tend to come from one side or the other. I love when I come across YouTubers and channels that have balanced information, balanced reporting on fandom. It's very unique because no matter what side of the spectrum you fall on, either one side is really over this way or the other side is really over this way. But you guys just seem to report what's going down with your segments. You kind of let your audience decide what they want to feel about something, which is what I do here. Like I give strong opinions, true, but I also like to let the chat talk amongst themselves. So I guess the first question I would ask you guys. Oh,
and
perfect
Natalie has
timing.
finally arrived.
Hello. Nice to meet you.
He said that his partner is usually late too, so I guess there's one in each group.
Yeah.
To be
He's
fair,
gonna.
she didn't tell me till like
Yeah,
last minute.
it was last minute, but okay.
Oh, if you guys see Lee Cole the third, that's actually my father. So if you're like, why is he saying this stuff? He's the person who's normally doing the show now. I actually do, or my dad does news segments on here. So he.
Okay, I didn't realize that was your dad. Okay.
Yeah. I also do news segments with my dad as well too. So we do a little bit of everything on here. But I guess my first question would be, because we all have our different reasons for doing what we're doing. So what is it that got you into wanting to YouTube, and specifically Star Wars and things like that?
Well, as far as Star Wars, I can't remember a time in my life I wasn't a Star Wars fan. Like it's just always been there. I mean, we have me on video when I'm like 2 years old at Disney World with a blue lightsaber, taking swings at my older brother who has a Darth Vader helmet on. Like it's always been there, and it's always been a passion and a deep love of mine. I've always loved talking it. So we actually started just as a podcast. And about 6 months in, we were like, you know what? We should go to YouTube and try that out. And we've kind of gotten to the point we really are now more a YouTube channel.
YouTube, I guess.
Yeah. We're more a YouTube channel who releases, like, say, our Kong versus Godzilla spoiler review. Like, I will take the audio from that and put it on podcast. So, because I do find there's some people who just seem to prefer podcasts.
Yeah, just
so
the audio.
It allows you to kind of reach two different audiences.
Oh, and I'm sorry, I'm going to shamelessly plug my co-host who is late in here. Now he'll listen to this and then he'll type a comment back. But go check out my co-host's channel, Pop Culture PB. He does stuff with me, and yeah, you know, it's interesting. It's interesting to me to find female fan base in Star Wars, because when Last Jedi came out, there was this myth that all of these trolls and people in caves have gotten together and were mad at The Last Jedi. We all revolted. It wasn't because Rian Johnson sucks or anything like that. It was because us man babies, and look, yes, I have a Baby Yoda and a Baby Yoda shirt on, and eventually I have my Captain America and all my nerd stuff set up. Me and my girl just moved into our place and we've been getting it together. But I like to see it in the fandom where there's females who are reporting the same thing, because there's a misconception out there that this is just a male fandom, that just males get annoyed by the things that go on within our fandoms. So I guess my next question would be, when you started doing this, did you guys, when did you guys start as far as Star Wars goes, and have you followed the progression? And what do you think about the progression of Lucasfilms and everything in general?
Well, I mean, The Last Jedi, we didn't start our podcast until 2000, let's see, February 2020. And then we started our YouTube channel like almost basically right at July of 2020. So of course, all the drama had already taken place. And really, for the most part, we stayed so just down the middle until like the Gina Carano thing happened. And then it was just kind of like all bets were off. Like we genuinely were really genuinely ticked. Like if you go back and watch our video of us covering her interview with Ben Shapiro, I think that's why people loved it so much. You can tell how authentic and raw our feelings are about the situation.
Like we kind of actually had to it's like, okay, rein it in, like tone it down,
Yes. And
it was very real.
I've never toned stuff down on my channel. I've actually gotten in trouble by Father Zod for being because And I did actually watch that because I like to especially when I have people on, I like to go back through and watch stuff. And that was the other thing that interests me a lot, because especially with the Gina Carano thing, a lot of people thought it was alt-right, or men just were trying to, or once again the whole man babies were trying to save her, rabid Star Wars fans and stuff like this. So to see you guys react to it, I was like, I'm so glad this is not the I'm not the only one who feels the same way about this. Oh my goodness. I hate when my phone decides it's just going to go off. Okay. I'm not it's great to see that I'm not the only ones. And it's interesting too, because we don't have a lot of people who are down the middle, so it's hard when someone came out either defending or going against it. And I could genuinely tell that you guys were just upset by the situation that had happened and the way that it was unfolding, and apparently about all the other stuff that was going on behind the scenes. And just really quickly, for everyone who haven't checked out your videos, and if you guys haven't, go check them out because the link is in the description. Like, when you found out what had happened initially, were you on the fence, and then the more you dug, you got upset about it? Or, were you just like, oh my goodness, they got rid of Cara Dune, how dare they?
Well, I
was pretty upset about it immediately.
At first, I was like, because the way it was released, first I was like, let's hold off and see if this is actually indeed true. And then, by the next morning,
I remember I texted you and you were like, oh, well, it's not official yet. And I was like, well, it's all over Twitter.
I knew it was all over Twitter. So I held off because that is my personality. I am not a knee-jerk reactor, like when it comes to what we're going to do publicly. And I just wanted to hold off and see, is this indeed true? By the time I knew it was true, I was so angry. And it's just because I have followed Gina Carano. I have watched her literally be bullied. And I use the word bullied. The woman was,
in the true sense.
The woman was harassed and bullied for the last 6 months.
Yeah.
And Lucasfilm stood by and did nothing. And come to find out, behind the scenes, they were actually condemning her.
Right.
And then to fire her. And again, I appreciate you saying, because we try to cover things. And if you notice, we typically have a side, but yet we try to be fair.
Yeah.
We always try to be fair to both sides and try to reach middle ground where we can. But that's where it was so frustrating, because, okay, and I am a First Amendment absolutist. If Pedro Pascal wants to call every Trump voter a Yahtzee, he has the right to do so. I truly believe that. But that goes
across the board.
That goes both ways. Gina Carano has the right to tweet whatever the heck she wants to tweet, and hers was actually tremendously less offensive than some of the things Pedro Pascal and even probably Mark Hamill have tweeted out.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I'm a huge fan of Mark Hamill. I love Mark Hamill. I watched that show Nightfall because he was in the second season. That was actually my favorite season. I like Mark Hamill, but he's a very interesting character. Very interesting.
Yes.
Very, very interesting. There's not a good frame to put him in, because one minute he'll say something crazy on that side, and I don't like to get into the politics too much on my channel, but you guys know what I mean.
Yes.
He'll go crazy that one way, but then on the other hand, he will adamantly stick up for his Star Wars fans.
Yes.
Or the people who follow him and who are fans of his. He will sit there and defend them. So it's kind of weird where you put him in the spectrum of things. But I remember that yes, Father Zod, he said Gina can kick Pedro's ass. Yes, Father Zod,
I think
believe that.
Can.
Most definitely. And hello to everybody in the chat.
Yes.
I see some of you all's comments. Hello.
Hell, and by the way, hi, Keely Talks. I know some people hopped in. Janie Davis, good to see you here. The other thing that I wanted to mention about this too was we were actually doing a Fandom Zone news, and I cover a lot of Johnny Depp Amber Heard stuff, and we were actually covering that, and all of a sudden, Father Zod goes, "Hey, Gina Carano got fired." Like he said in the middle of the broadcast, he's like, "Breaking news: Gina Carano got fired." I go, "No, it's not true." And he goes, "Look, the trades are reporting it." And I go, "You know how these things go. Like the media, they will release outlandish things, but then the Times and some other people were reporting, like it seemed like simultaneously." And I was like, "Oh no, I think it was like THR had broke it too." So I was like, "Oh, this is not good." Which, oh, by the way, check out Keely Talks. Plug for you, girlfriend. She was supposed to have a stream, but I'm a villain and I cut into her because I didn't know she was going to have a stream. So, Keely, if you do a stream after this, everybody hop over there and go check her out. But no, I was watching it, and the thing that upsets me the most is people get confused about the situation. They think because of how the media framed it and from how some of the things were worded, they think that she came out and she said all of this stuff. And I've even had some viewers who have not been too excited about that. And look, the tweet she posted may have not been worded the best, but out of what she said, I got what she was saying and what the references were. And like you guys said, the biggest thing that upset me about the whole thing was that if you're going to you want to say this person is saying something that's racially motivated or whatever, cool. You want to punish them for that. You're a company, that's your prerogative. But be fair across the board. Don't just say this person over here is okay. Right. But this person right over here can get away with it.
Well, and then on top of it, it's just so, I think that's when it was just so eye-awakening. It's like the things that Disney's done that's been in the background, kind of background noise in my mind, all of a sudden, because you've angered me, it's now in the front. Like we see you. Like I wasn't going to say anything, even though I saw it and it bothered me. This is the same company that thanked the district in China that literally has, I'll watch my words for YouTube, but literally has a camp where people concentrate right now. And they thanked them when they filmed Mulan.
Oh, and yeah, one of those camps you go for concentration and focus. Yeah, I know those.
Yes, like reprogramming type things. But
so I think it's so disingenuous.
It is.
It's like they have this fake outrage or manufactured outrage about some things, but yet they're total hypocrites. Yeah, I said it. I mean,
they are. And it's like that's what angered everyone. Because as you said, I actually fully understood what Gina was trying to say because there actually was only a comparison to what came before everything that went down back in, World War II times. And it was really a warning of and it doesn't even pick a side, left or right. It's just a warning of people hating one another because of their political beliefs.
Yes.
And even Charles Barkley just came out just this last weekend and said how our politics are trying to make white and black people hate one another.
Yeah.
And it's true to anyone who has eyes to see, we see that. And that's actually what she was calling out. And again, maybe it's not best to, maybe people don't like those comparisons. That's fine. But for her to be fired and then blacklisted over it, and for Disney to come out and say it was abhorrent, when they can read it, they knew. But we, come to find out when other articles have come out, we know they've been looking to get rid of Gina since September. And they just found the reason.
Let's just say it. They hated her or were even afraid of her, which is silly, but because she was conservative leaning.
Yeah. It at least appeared to be to them.
Yes.
And
that's really the heart of the issue. So.
Yeah, and here's the thing. The irony of the situation is they talk about female empowerment, strong females and everything that we have, right? And that's been a lot of what I talk about on my channel as well. And it swings back into a subject that I've been talking about with what was going on with Depp and Heard and everything. See, it's all this leaning towards strong, powerful women and all of this. But I have a lot of ladies in the chat who follow my my show and everything else like that. And even they say, yeah, we don't buy into this. And it's funny because companies don't seem to get it. Saying someone is empowered and just having them say it is not the same as them proving that they're empowered. To me, Gina Carano has proved she's empowered from her UFC career to how she conducts herself outside of her work and things like that, which is the thing that confused me the most. And Janie Davis had a great point saying, I hate what Disney always been but used to hide better.
Yeah.
They used to hide it well, but they don't care about doing that anymore because we got money. Ho ho. Mr. Father Zod says the our radical leftists that don't give a bleep about most Americans think. Father
Well, I
Zod,
think
yeah,
they don't
I agree.
care, and they don't really understand the average American. Like it's like they're kind of in la la land. Like they don't get it that most people don't think in such extremes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a projection of they think because they think that way that the majority is thinking that way, and really they're not. Here in my audience, I know I have people who go one way or the other way or in the middle, and I welcome all opinions because I think that the problem we have today is that it used to be a time where you could talk about these things, and it's why we have the problems in our media that we have today, is because Hollywood has tunnel vision, and honestly, they don't give a damn about fan opinion. They care about seeing how much stuff they can push into one thing, and that seems to go. So after this happened, because I know you guys cover.
Can I just say this? I want to say this on what you two were saying. It goes beyond they don't care what we think. They literally sit in this place of entitlement and elitist like kind of mindset of we're going to tell you how you should think.
Yes. And they think they have that power. And
we,
sadly, I guess they do for some people.
And we are the moral superiority, and we tell you the morals. Like we're on the right side of history, and this is the morals you all are to have. And if you don't have them, you're a bigot and every other is under the sun.
Mr. Cactus, hi.
No, hey, Mr. Cactus.
Are you a cactus? I'm curious. I have a lemon pie, so and they make very very hilarious pie references. So, here's the thing, because for me, and it's been really tough. It's been like someone who's an addict and you can't get your fix. I stopped watching Disney from WandaVision. I was in the middle of WandaVision. I still don't know how it ends, except for how I went on a panel and they spoiled it. I didn't care because I'm not planning on watching it. I completely stopped watching them. I haven't seen the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I really wanted to see the Mighty Ducks. No. I haven't seen any of that. And so were you guys like, oh, I'm going to immediately just stop endorsing them? Or was it because, we're YouTubers and that's just kind of how it goes? Because I don't cover anything of theirs anymore.
Well, here's how it went. First, it was like, well, we've got like a couple episodes left because we were covering every episode of WandaVision. And it was kind of like, well, we'll continue with this. So we both, our way, what we did is we both got rid of our Hulu accounts, our separate Hulu accounts, because that's Disney owned too. So it's kind of like, let's cut them off where we can, while not cutting ourselves off to spite our face. But now, like, it's getting to the point because Falcon and Winter Soldier has had like such little interest. Yeah. Like, I think moving forward this way, I can, because I purchased the year-long membership. So I think, I even this morning was thinking I may call and get my prorated rate money back. And just like, if we want to cover Loki, wait till all of them are finished and do one episode. That way I pay them for 1 month and that's it. Like, so basically I'm now to the point of, I'm not going to renew in November my annual membership. We will cover their series maybe in one episode, where that way we can really reduce the money we give them. Because the bottom line is Disney owns so much now, especially since they bought Fox. Like, they own just absurd amount of things. So it's kind of, for me, it's like, one, I haven't watched Star Wars stuff since this happened, but it's kind of like I'm going to cut them off as many places as I can, basically, is where I am.
Yeah, and I was so torn because I did kind of want to like immediately cancel, you know, Disney Plus. But like she said, it's like at the time we were kind of hungry for content to cover.
And if we're just being real, between us two and then our mother, so three households are on one account.
Yeah, true. So it's just one account.
Yeah. They're not.
And by the way, hi Astrid. She said hi to everyone. How are you?
Hello.
Brett? Hi. It's good to see people popping in and people I haven't seen. Thank you. If you're liking the content, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And shameless plug, if you're canceling Disney, go to HBO Max. That's right. Do everything to the max. HBO Max, please sponsor a villain. Anyway, no, I actually got a sponsorship from DC Fandom. If you guys don't know, I'm a huge DC fan, so kind of cutting myself from the Marvel stuff wasn't really that hard. I was more in it for the 20 movie legacy. After that, and I know I got issues going with Warner Bros. Because I cover the Amber Heard stuff, so I'm screwed either way. And I know a lot of people are like, how could you go that way? But here's the thing. If I have to pick the lesser of two evils, people really don't realize how bad Disney is. And both companies seem to own a lot of stuff. So I'm screwed either way. It's like entertainment is getting to a point where you've got pretty much two big players right now, or ones that are worth mentioning, which is Warner Bros. And Disney. And they're both shady in their own ways. And I try to tell people this too. And with this community too, and the Justice for Johnny Depp, I go, no matter which way you lean, all of these companies, they seem to be going in the same direction. And it's a shame because it's like you're sitting down, you go to watch something and you're like, is this going to make me upset? Because I'm going to see a bunch of things that I don't like in this. And I'm just going to be agitated throughout this. I even heard in Winter Soldier, there were a couple of things in there that seemed to have offended people. Like I said, I don't know. I haven't watched anything since this has happened. I completely, I canceled my subscription immediately. I don't regret it because, to be honest, there wasn't really much I was watching to begin with. Me and my girl Bitchy Unicorn do reviews together. We're doing one tonight, and we were doing a kind of a funny satirical interview or review on High School Musical, the musical. So she'll probably watch that. But I mean, I said no, I am not going to endorse anything. And a $4.99 super sticker from Diamond Knight. How you doing, Diamond Knight? Good to see you here. I can't see that. Oh, it's on the phone. It's a fox that's screaming hi. So let me ask you guys, because you're very down the middle, but I'm going to get real and I'm going to get some insights here. And I know you don't have to answer one way or the other, but in your heart of hearts, do you feel that entertainment, no matter how you cover it, you guys personally, do you feel like entertainment is becoming very, what's the best word? God, I hate to use the trendy words. Woke, I guess we'll say.
Oh, definitely.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, it is. And even, we have been watching, which actually okay. So guys, if you are in the chat, I see some people that feel very strongly about Disney. I think the Gina effect is very real. Because our WandaVision reviews were beginning to get really good clicks. Falcon and the Winter Soldier, we're halfway in, and it's a bust. We've decided just to wait till it's over and cover it in one more episode. Like, my point is I genuinely think people have tuned out. Yeah, have begun to tune out, and that's why I'm saying moving forward, we're going to cover it differently so we can begin to cut Disney out even further of our budget and giving them much attention, because I do have HBO Max and I do view them, even though we did a video calling out Warner's for going after the Snyder Cut fans. I do view them right now as the lesser of two evils. Yeah. I mean, they're not edging them out by tons, but they've got them in.
And
No, with
last
the
week
whole
too.
Johnny Depp thing, that's been the biggest thing, and that's kind of the community that I have here and that I'm with. They really dropped the ball on that one, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens there because there's some reports she's still going to be in it. I've got some people who are saying she's not. That'll be interesting within itself. But yeah, it's just like for me, I rather go honestly, it's not about the company at this point who owns it, but if you just look streaming wise, right? Netflix is the most established. I have them. They put out the most content because they've been around for the most. And then you have Disney, who sure they've got a library, but it's all their own stuff. They don't pay licensing fees to get new things. So the content that's new that they're putting out is greatly less and going to be less than what, say, a Netflix or an Amazon can put out. I got Amazon and I'm watching Invincible. Great show. And oh yeah, it is awesome. I actually had an argument with someone because they said it was woke. I go, no, that's the character. I read Robert Kirkman quite a bit. I came from The Walking Dead, so
I watched that too.
yeah,
Well,
he's like
and
one of my favorites.
Here's the thing. I think because I will say this for whoever said that. I've not seen the show, so I have no say on that. But I think we all have to be careful in this regard. We are so annoyed. Our level of what we can take is so just boiling over at this point that we do have to be careful of not jumping the gun of just throwing everything aside as woke. Like, because there are some things that there's little things that it's not really that woke. Like, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that we have to always be careful of not going so far the other way. But there's enough stuff that's just so in our face that that's obvious and we all call that what it is. But do you get what I'm saying, Zod? But yeah, it's almost like I feel like we're so aggravated at this point, we can almost jump the gun on calling it woke before it really is.
I get what you're saying because it's like you don't want to go totally to the other, the other extreme, or like lose your compassion or sensitivity towards things,
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Go check out Lily Potter on Instagram because I like to just promote everyone.
I like that.
But yeah, it's one of those things where we're treading a fine line. And Lily, I saw your comment. It's not just the Amber and Johnny situation. I'm not really talking about that today, but you guys have been on the channel. There's so much more to that and the nuances of that. That's it's that really showed to me for what Warner's thought, because no matter who wins out, and I believe that she's 100% guilty, so do the people who co-host with me or whatever, but whoever wins out, Warner Brothers still looks stupid. And that's my point with it, because they jumped the gun with firing someone and not firing the other person. And I said this in the beginning when I first started covering it, was when you fire one person and you don't fire the other, even if you're saying you're not taking a stance in an argument, you're clearly taking a stance in an argument. When you say this person is fired, but you leave the other person, no matter what you put out in a press release, you're secretly telling me that you believe one side and not the other. Or maybe you're going with the most popular side to go with, which is #BelieveAllWomen side, and not the other. And that swings back to the woke thing. Whenever we have all of these labels, hashtags, and things, we got to be careful with how we drop them, because it could be this is a particular way, and then it's not. Like, you think it's something, but it's not. Like for instance, for Invincible, the 3rd episode, there is a character in there who's a villain who makes references to being they said they were a female gender study major or something like that, and they cracked jokes about how the forefathers were slaves and racists and they were going to take down Mount Rushmore. And someone was like, oh my God, it's going woke. And I go, no, that's the character. That's the joke. The joke is they're doing this like little thing that doesn't actually really mean anything. And if you hear the heroes back and forth, like the one girl like shows up and she's like, we're gonna stop you, and he goes, the villain's like, don't you feel objectified by the male patriarchy for forcing you to wear that? And she goes, no, I designed my own costume. And it's like, so I mean, I found it more satirical, and that's the thing. There's a difference between a show that's forcing politics and something that's being satirical and kind of reading in between the lines. And I feel like that's the big problem in general, is that these companies have created they say we created a toxic culture, but when in reality, they created the toxic culture.
Yeah.
And now it's become such a battleground that you literally have people fighting over and not even looking at the content of what's coming out. But is it woke? Is it not woke? Is there political messaging? Is there a statement about this, that, and the other thing? Like, how do you guys feel about that? Like, do you guys get nervous about watching things like I do? Like when you go to sit down and watch a show you're really interested in, are you like, oh my goodness, here we go. Do I have to look at this, or do you kind of just take the show on its merits? And
I kind of go into a show like open-minded, and then if they begin forcing things down my throat, I begin to get annoyed pretty quickly. Like if it's very obvious, like really, like they're really pushing it.
Like I'll just give an honest example. Like for instance, on Falcon and the Winter Soldier, there was kind of like a racial thing happening that, I mean, clearly
there's been at least once an episode.
Yeah. And like clearly, and we just like, we covered it and we just didn't bring up the incident, so we had a commenter be like, clearly there's so many subtleties that just go right over you girls' heads, and it's like everything. It's like, no, we saw it. We didn't talk about it.
We just don't want to talk about it because I didn't want to, and I finally figure out when I will address it, if we do, it's just like the bottom line is with Falcon, race has never been an issue. Falcon's been in multiple movies.
It's like you're just like putting that in there right now, and like the worst time to put that. It's like dividing people.
Yes, it's trying. Like all of a sudden, people are racist against Falcon, and it's not believable at this point. Like Falcon's an Avenger. He's a hero. People have loved Falcon. Like since when does he randomly get pulled over in broad daylight by policemen?
Right.
I mean, it's just it's just so forced. And when it's so forced,
and they asked the white guy, being
is he bothering
being
you?
The Winter Soldier, is he bothering you? It's just like, come on, like.
It's interesting. I heard about that scene, and I didn't watch it myself, so I have no context to really interact about that. But I mean, just in your guys' opinion, because it sounds like you watched it, is it like everyone said? Because even from people I listen to and everything else, they sometimes have a bias towards disliking Disney. So I can't always believe it's not, personal feelings. But did you guys notice a lot of stuff in that show that's kind of like,
Yeah, like it's noticeable. It's in your face. Like they're definitely going out of their way to establish racism. And again, we never want to be hardened to the fact that there is real racism, and that can be a real fact, but it feels so forced because Falcon's never endured any version of racism until all of a sudden.
It's like you're just putting it in to fit the narrative right now. Like that's going on. And I'll say this, and I mean this, I honestly don't think like the average, like I'm saying as a whole of Americans
are racist,
or whatever,
forget on YouTube, or ist. Yeah.
I mean, and maybe I'm just naive, or maybe that's just my experience, the people I've been around in life, but I don't find that to be the case. Like, I don't buy it that we're all just like these ists and we need to admit it and profess it, and, and denying it means I mean, it's just gotten out of hand.
Yeah. And I mean, we can say that I can admit that I've lived in the South my entire life. So I'm in supposedly
so
the
this
most
is coming from being in the South.
Yeah,
environment.
I'm in supposedly the most ist place of all the U.S. And, have I met some ist? Sure, I have. Like, I can admit that. But I've met some ist on the other side, too. And which we're,
it does happen.
Which we're not allowed to talk about. But overall, the people in the South or wherever you go, just our generation wasn't raised. We actually were raised to just kind of ignore color and just kind of treat people on the content of their character.
And if anything, like if we're really getting honest, I think if you look at statistically, there's a higher percentage of Black people in the South. And so as a kid, you grow up in school, like you're together, like it's just like, you just don't think about it.
No,
like,
you just don't. And again, are there ist? Absolutely. There's ist of every race. There are. Again, you can be an ist of any race.
Yeah.
But
That
it's just
is
like,
true.
is it the problem that they're making it? No. Like they're acting like it's the 1960s.
right.
And it's not.
I know we've really reverted back to this thinking like the civil rights movement never happened and
Yeah.
we never went through the same thing in the 90s. Like I'm a 90s kid. We went through NWA and all that, and the whole things with the LAPD, which is ironic too, because LAPD, Los Angeles Police, LA, you guys feeling guilty about something because that's your neck of the woods. I don't.
Right.
I mean, I know the NYPD has a few things, but and that's the whole thing that, especially with the cops thing, because I feel like they did two things in that one scene.
Yeah, they did.
I didn't see it, so I couldn't get the context, but they're making a statement about the police and they're making a statement about racism at the same time. And it's like, why? What?
Yeah.
When you add stuff in, I always ask myself when I'm reviewing, does this add to the story? Is this something that's key to establishing what's already? Is this helping the character, the scene, or whatever? And if it doesn't, then it's just put into that.
Yeah.
They're enforced.
And I don't know, did you ever see Netflix's Marvel Luke Cage?
Yes.
Like Luke Cage, like one, I don't even feel like they try to force narratives down your throat very much at all. Like they just kind of, it's a show about a Black superhero.
And he's a great character.
Yeah. But even in that, like he, does have some run-ins. Obviously he ends up in jail and at the end of one of the seasons with cops, but nothing feels forced. It's a natural progression in the story of what happens in that story, where in this, they are going out of their way to put these in there. And again, I would be fine with that. I think everyone would feel that way if you've established that previously with Falcon, but Falcon's just always been accepted. So it feels very odd.
And it's like, what's your end game here with this? Is it to bring together or is it to cause more division? Because sometimes it feels like the political climate, it's to cause more division. And you're putting that into Hollywood stuff.
Well, and back to what Charles Barkley said, that's exactly what he said. He said, I honestly think most Black people, most white people are good people. And we need to quit listening to the lies of politics, basically, is what he said.
Totally.
Shout out to Barkley, man, because I did not even catch that. I might have to actually cover that on my my late night darks because I had no clue.
Oh yeah,
said that.
You should find up the clip. I mean, Barkley. I've always liked Charles Barkley. He's never afraid to speak his mind, even if at times it makes people mad. But it was a great little clip that he did because it's so true.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's really great to have more, and I think that's the thing. We need more stars and more of these celebrities coming out and saying it, because the problem is a lot of them aren't saying it, and the reason why they don't want to is because if you're still working, you're not going to work if you come out against the establishment, unless you're somebody who's really big and you're entrenched there, and then what you say doesn't matter. But for the most part, if you look at the trend of any of these stars coming out and trying to speak up for their faith or anything else like that, they immediately get hammered by the small majority of idiots on Twitter, and then the media will come back through and start writing the articles, and they'll be quoting the tweet and then quoting the responses. And we all know why you're doing that, media. I know why you're doing it. I hate you. Go ahead and write something about me, please. I would love to respond to that. Rebecca says, and I feel disappointed in the ones who make an entire civilization look prejudiced against difference, like they don't speak for people in the South. Who are they? I agree,
Rebecca.
110%. That's the hilarious part about this and why I'm so glad we got on. See, I just let the conversation go wherever. I didn't ever get into the whole nuances of this, but um, that's why um, I feel like being content creators, we're getting more traction. I've had up to 30 people watching, 25 right now. Thank you, everybody. So glad you're here. Um, I feel like people are tired of
Mhm.
being told by the verified media, the check marked media, the the bastions of information. They feel like, or they're starting to realize they're only getting one side of the argument, because I even know like normies who will sit there and they'll go, "Why is everyone so offended?" I'll be like, "Well, come on my channel or go check this out," and then come back and you'll see the real truth of what's going on, because there's still people who will pick up a newspaper, look at it, and think, yeah, this is the news, and it's just
But
not
it's
that
the
way
truth.
anymore.
Yeah.
Well, and I think too, just through different things in life, life has taught me, for starters, whether it is Johnny Depp and Amber Heard or whatever it is, in this nation, we are what they call innocent until proven guilty. And I try to hold that for people because we live in a day where people make endless amounts of accusations. Newspapers will lie and make accusations. And it almost,
They all have a narrative at this point. It's
Yes.
never just, nuanced, like fair reporting anymore.
No, and they're pushing narratives, and so I always try to hold off from passing judgment until more information emerges. And I just think that, and we do that with our channel. And I appreciate you saying we kind of go down the line, because we try, again, the word I would use it. Usually if you listen to us, you grasp what side we're actually on, but we try to, again, be fair and have a level of nuance in our approach towards things.
It's kind of the like treat others the way you would like to be treated,
Yes.
type of thing. Like, I don't
And
want to
that-
generalize a big group of people ever,
That's one thing that I caught while watching your guys' stream, because I know, like, I kind of just like messaged you out of nowhere and was like, "Hey, want to come on my show?" So I apologize if I came out.
That's
left field.
how it
I'm a
works.
very
Really.
I'm a very forward person, but when something strikes me as interesting, I like to get them on my programming, because when I first started, I had someone bring me in and they said, if you notice someone, or, you should, have them come on, promote them, to kind of bring them out there. And I think that all of us as content creators who are covering this side of things should all kind of be together on the same the same sphere. Ha,
Yeah.
nailed it. Because we have, and I hate to use the term that there is a culture war, but there really
Yes.
There
is that people aren't seeing. And this can be linked back to Johnny Depp, Brad Pitt, Chris Pratt, any of these people who are getting targeted right now.
Right.
There really is a culture war, and there really is a attack on the things that we love. And I think in some way or another, we have all started as creators to try to bring this out, and we're getting more traction. But the only way we're going to continue to keep forward momentum is by linking up, getting to know each other, and kind of going and sharing each other's channels across streams so that people can have a view. Because look, I'll admit it, at times I'm a brash asshole. I'll threaten people on my channel and things like that. That's just the way that I am built. But I do like to see other people and go, oh wow, they've got a calm, unique take on things. I'd like to get them on and get them out here. I had the Valkyrie on here, and I've talked with Stone Loki and a bunch of other great people. And I like to see the way that we all tell the same thing. So I guess my next question is, when you guys started your podcast and you set it up, did you guys always have in mind what kind of tone you were going to go for? Is it your personalities? Was it just kind of a thing you had to scale back? Because one of you seems very like, I'm going to let you know my opinion, and you're like, I'm more going to be down the middle. So did you guys like kind of always have a style?
Am I the down the middle one? I'm just curious.
You seem like the very forward, like And you see like the more down the middle. I'm just going by what.
That's hilarious. I love
And it's
funny,
a
'cause
very,
usually-
it's a very great contrast.
Because usually my personality, well, I think we bounce off one another. It's almost like good cop, bad cop. Some like one will keep it in a little more, and the other one will kind of let it go.
Because in real life, I feel like she's actually the more like passionate, demonstrative one.
Definitely.
But I am more so like, I guess personality wise, like my mom always says I'm an open book. So that's probably why you get more just like blah. Like this is, this is what I think. Like,
yeah. So we, in the beginning, just being a podcast and stuff, we were just so well, in fairness to us, we started our podcast and a couple weeks later, everything was shut down.
yeah.
So we had to be really creative and just talk about things we liked, or, that's just kind of what we end up doing until new
Yeah.
content came out. And then Tenet came out and we were like, we really hated it. But so we kind of just were positive and just kind of take that approach. And to this day, we still prefer to be positive personalities. That's more our nature. But, sometimes with things like Gina or things like that, sometimes you can't be super positive.
Right. Well, and I think like, the Gina thing kind of kicked off something that a lot of us have been feeling for a long time,
Yes.
but it was just kind of like the final nail in the coffin of like, there is, like you said, this kind of culture war going on. And I think like, and I don't mean in a big way or in an aggressive way, but I think it's a fight worth fighting for some of us, like even just our small voice, out in the whatever, but to some individuals to take a stand against it.
Well, and I think too, because I actually, I got rid of my personal Twitter account. I just run the Force of Light Entertainment one. But anyone who's followed me, especially back when I had my old Twitter account, again, I am a First Amendment absolutist, like free speech to the max. Like that is one of the founding principles of this nation is freedom of speech. And so I really stand by freedom of speech. So, I just don't, one thing I was going to say about that is I feel like so oftentimes society through these corporations, they're teaching us to self-censor. Like, even though it's technically not off guard, not illegal, like we're shutting ourselves up. And what they did with Gina was send a mass message to society. You better watch your mouths. You better watch what you tweet. You better watch what you say. And of course you should if it's really something bad. But it was a political thing,
but like
and it
being
was
conservative is not bad.
it's not a crime.
You can be a Democrat or a Republican, conservative or a progressive. I mean, it's just like they're all out there. It's not, nobody's like the evil one.
Yes. This nation is founded on the marketplace of ideas, freedom of speech, and I just I encourage everyone in our audience. I'm not saying go out there and say something stupid that could literally would get you fired anywhere. But don't allow corporations to scare us into self-censoring ourselves, because it's just not a good thing.
I remember, and I covered this on my channel, that the school system was passing out these pamphlets about how privileged you are to the parents. And there were a lot of parents that got pissed off about this.
Yeah.
Like, what does this mean? And it's sad because we've come to a point where it's even becoming like mainlined because Hollywood and corporations are setting a tempo and they're setting up this ideal that these stuff needs to be mainstreamed. And, I've even come across a lot of younger people because I do security work for the malls now. And I've come across a lot of younger people who even don't even feel that way. Like they see this stuff and they go, this is kind of weird, like I don't understand. And then there's some people who are younger that are just buying into it and hopping on their Twitter and they only hear one side from their Google feed and they just go off thinking that that's absolute truth because this star or someone else they know is telling them, hey, this is absolutely terrible and look at all of this yada 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 going around. And I think it's a lot that the newer generation has a poor way to be informed. Because when I was a kid, you used to be able to go down the street, get a paper, and read it. And it was never what the editor or the author thought in their opinion.
Yes.
It was, here's the facts. Okay, what I
Mhm.
kind of feel about it. And then you can make your own decision based on the information that I'm giving you. And it's just not that way anymore.
No.
It's a lot
Just
of
listen to the way they word
misinformation.
things.
Yes. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
you know, well, no, I won't go there because it's too political. But I mean, anything, you just have to open up your eyes to see. We have now, I'll put it this way, around the election, let's just say that Twitter decided to self-censor the oldest newspaper in the United States of America that had a factual story that later, when they could, once the election was over, they allowed the truth to come out that it was a factual story.
That they were suppressing information
Yes.
for a designated.
Wow, I didn't even know about that. Wow.
Yeah.
And you know how many unfactual stories they
Oh,
allow
they
to be
run all
on
the time.
And those are okay, apparently.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Sadly, journalism is basically dead. I mean,
Yeah.
it really, there are some good journalists out there, but like, say, even, I thought it was interesting, the woman that Gina Carano first reached out to after she got fired from Lucasfilm, or they didn't renew her contract, as they like to say. She was a woman that had worked for and I believe she, considers herself a classic liberal. She had worked for the New York Times for several years. And I think around September, she wrote pretty much a scathing piece, in her goodbye. It was her swan song, goodbye, peace out, of just how basically how she couldn't work there because journalism's not allowed.
You have to have a slant, and you
You-
have to,
yes.
yeah.
And
I
it's
mean,
just,
I've heard
it's
that too
sad.
from some people that I know that work in that field. They've been like, it's getting so bad where it's like it's not about the story, but it's the view of the paper and who they're in with right now. Stone Cold Jeremy made a great point. He said they claim freedom of speech isn't freedom of consequences, but that's exactly what freedom of speech is. It's the freedom to say anything you want without repercussions. Yeah, I believe I read that right. Yeah, I agree. Janie Davis says we used to be able to trust the news. Johnny's case taught me better, but media controls the mindset of the next generation. Yes. I definitely agree. And that's why I love having different people on and different stations getting different points of views. But it seems like everyone I have on, we come to the same consensus. It's this we're getting popular because people are starting to realize that the source where they were getting their information. And the funny part is it's a lot of older people, which when I was growing up, I don't know if you guys got the grandparents and the things like that in the older generation. You used to hear all the time, I'll never go on the internet, or this new age is not for me. And you got a lot of older people who are getting on because they're starting to realize they can't get the news from the TV, the newspapers. No one is reporting anything, and if they are reporting stuff of truth, it's Timmy found a puppy and everyone's happy on the block, or the weather today is going to be. It's sad when the weather is more accurate than anything else.
Yeah,
Really, that's a good point.
it definitely is.
I mean, it used to be the most inaccurate.
What is good though, what is promising is it is becoming now countercultural.
Yeah.
To oppose these things.
Right.
Because
it's funny, we're the new counterculture.
Because things like freedom of speech, like actually believing that, is becoming countercultural. So it's like the younger generation, there's actually more than ever that are beginning to almost oppose the mainstream because they see it is the mainstream. It's not countercultural anymore.
You know how they used to be all about like stick it to the man.
They are the man.
Now they are the man. Like this.
The irony, right. A lot of like the 70s people and stuff that grew up, they wind up running these corporations and they're like, well, now how can I stick it to everyone else? It used to be like they were, and I'd like to tell some of like these really old people who are in these positions, because they came from that kind of era. Like,
Yeah.
hey, way to sell out. Didn't you
Right.
used to be like anti-establishment, don't trust the man, we got to bring the truth to the people? And now we've reverted back. It's weird. It's like, as a society, we are reverting back to what we were. And we fought how many years to get out of what we were? I mean, there's literally been, with women gaining the right to vote, and with Black people getting civil rights and, proper treatment. And then in the 90s, you can even say this whole police department thing was done in the 90s. We exposed, yes, there are corrupt cops, but it doesn't mean everybody is corrupt.
Right.
It's like Hollywood was late to the dance and they're trying to catch up.
Yeah.
Where were you back then?
Well, and I would say it's like I was watching. I actually went back last night. I was watching the movie Giant that came out in like 1956.
I'm like 40 minutes in, and then I started watching it this morning.
But it was with James Dean, Liz Taylor, and Rock Hudson. So I think mid-50s. It was a big movie when it came out, and they address in it very subtly like some sexism. But the movie is set in like 18. Like there was sexism that was worthy of addressing at that point in time. So I think Hollywood would back then, but they're still doing it now and not recognizing we don't have these same problems on a mainstream level. Like you said, we've come through all those things.
We've conquered a lot.
So now they're just going with the new woke thing, which actually, I don't know if you saw this. Gosh, I'd have to go back and see. There's another university that just did, it was like another safe space for only people of color. So they're now segregating, now progressing is going back to segregation.
Right.
It's very odd.
I mean, the irony, and I'm not in these people's minds. I don't know if they legitimately believe the crap that they're peddling, or whether it's part of a grander scheme, if we want to put on the tinfoil cowboy hat. I have no clue. But
I feel the same way sometimes. Like, do you really, I don't know sometimes. Yeah, because it's so out there and ridiculous.
I think some do, and I think the people up top do, and I think some of the mindless people below just kind of, they really are diehard believers. Like, they believe they're on the right side of history. I mean, I think that's kind of where it is.
Well, another thing quickly, something I had saw or seen recently, kind of similar to what you were saying about kids in school, but they actually had the kids. This was like in an elementary school. Did you hear about this?
Yes.
Check a box. Are you a victim or are you the oppressor? Like one or the other.
And it's just, think of how like psychologically damaging that is for a little like first grader.
So it's like either way, you're like, oh, so I'm a victim, or I'm the oppressor, and there's nothing I can do about it. Like,
yeah.
It's just so messed up.
Like, yeah, that was in California. I know where that was.
I'm not surprised. Janie Davis says, Mr. Zod's Phantom Zone. My mom is 80 and she is following the Depp case for months before I was. She doesn't trust the mainstream either. And Father Zod said, it isn't the old people, it is the young people. Yeah, that's true. But I'm talking about the people who are in a position of senator and governor and all of that thing. They came from that time period. I'm not going to get political on that, but says,
well, let's say this: millennials are the product of the older generation teaching them woke SJW nonsense in college and things like that. That's the bottom line. That's really where it is.
Keely Chow says, I'm an old school liberal and I can't deal with and don't understand leftists. And that's just it. See, even on the political spectrum, I do get a lot of people in here who's like, hey, I am that, but I'm not this far off. It's like everything's far to center. And that's both sides. Like, you have the far right, the far left, and there's nothing in the middle. And it's the same thing now. It's bleeding into the entertainment. And look, if you guys don't think entertainment has politics in it, since its inception. It's always been literally there are movies like Full Metal Jacket and things like that that were literal statements against the Vietnam War. It's always been
Yeah.
there, but it used to be they were creative
Yeah.
and they let you kind of get the theme organically on your own. Now it's like hitting you in the face with a sledgehammer.
Right.
Yes. Yes. That's the difference. Exactly.
So, yes, I checked your message, Father Zod. So, yeah, Coffee says, if you need safe space on campus, you might need to be going to the doctor. You are supposed to be exposed to other people's opinions. I watched
Yeah.
I watched this movie with I believe it was Adam Carolla and a bunch of other people. It was called No Safe Space, and it was a great movie where they talked about the safe space thing. And when you actually they took videos of actually people in these safe spaces. And it didn't seem safe to me. It was like one side yelling at the other, and I go, "You guys do realize what the definition of safe means, right?"
Right.
This feels like an oxymoron.
Safe space literally just means an echo chamber. That's all it means.
For
And-
one train of thought.
Yes.
I mean, it's just ridiculous. But I know you guys said you only had an hour, so I don't want to hold you up too much. This was a great discussion. I had a really awesome time, and you know, if I could get some maybe final thoughts, and then you know, anything you got coming on your channel, all that great stuff.
Oh, I don't know if you guys saw, we covered actually Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. And I don't know if you've had this happen, but when we went to monetize it, they gave us the yellow monetization. Like they won't fully monetize it. It was like,
it's like, what's up with that? And we were very fair. Like we often,
Yeah.
you know, we weren't just like, you know, just
Yeah, I would like to ask about a bunch of other content creators, but yeah, some of my videos have gotten that. Sometimes I feel, for me, it might have been the cursing thing, but
were any of them having to see? We don't cuss at all in it. Like we literally just address.
and my point, we didn't like bash her
No.
either. We tried to be like nuanced about it, you know. But
we went from the approach right after the Snyder cut of it bringing up what are they going to do with Amber Heard's character,
You know,
because she was in it.
They've got their own double standard going on at Warner Brothers with the situation.
Yeah, no, I just wondered if you've had that happen with any, since I know now that you're, you know, cover that so much. Like, has that happened to you with those specific videos? Because I was like, really?
Yeah.
Like, okay.
I had two of them where I just covered an article and I did get a yellow thing on it, and then one that was 5K, and that one was fully monetized because, you know, YouTube likes the ones that hit that algorithm. So yeah, there's definitely a bias there, because the one that actually got monetized, I made fun of E Entertainment and their coverage and how on the fence they were while trying to sound, you know, like one guy was like all taking one side and one guy was disgusted even reporting it. It was hilarious dynamic, and I put like little emojis and everything. It was one of my favorite ones to shoot. But no, I didn't know just even covering it, because I watched that video and I thought you guys did a great job.
Thank you. But you see, yeah, and we got a yellow mark, like the yellow monetization. It was like, what the heck? So I mean, clearly they're very sensitive to the Amber situation.
Oh yeah, I feel like there's been a lot of channels that, and I'm going to talk because I'm in a group with a bunch of other content creators who cover it. I'm going to ask them too, because I feel like you guys aren't the only ones. Like, I think other people have ran into that situation, or it hasn't gotten monetized at all. And Father Zod says they don't want to pay you.
It seems that way.
That's it.
So they use it as an excuse.
Right. It kind of felt that way.
Yeah.
It really did, because it was pretty down the middle as much as it could be. Really. But
I mean,
yeah,
I think it's kind of like a lot. I think you kind of know where I stand and
yeah,
where we
we
stand, but you know, it's.
I think from the fact we referred to her as Amber Turd, you knew where we stood.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we covered I believe it was, oh gosh, has it been, Saturday. We talked we had quite a stream. It was me, Father Zod, and my co-host Pop Culture PV. We had quite a stream, and we talked about, because now she's gone on Twitter and attacked people and on Twitter who were just asking questions. We read some of the comments, or they were just saying, well, this happened, so how can, and she's gone after people. So she's quite a
it's like when you're Amber Heard, when you're Amber Turd, you probably just want to get off social media right now.
That's the thing. And I was saying this the other day, and Pop Culture was saying this the other day. She's one of the people who feeds off negative attention.
Yeah.
And there is something to be said. Old Hollywood used to say that there's no press that's bad press.
Yeah.
If it's negative, if it's positive, you're still in the spotlight. And I think she's got that kind of mindset, like, oh, they're talking about me. I said the best thing you could do, if you ignore her, which a lot of people have ignored her thing, but if people ignored her, that would probably be worse than giving her the attention, because she's one of those people who thrives off being narcissistic and egotistical and everything else. So it's one of those things where she's one of the ones where you kind of got to ignore them, where most stars would want you to ignore them, because that would mean they're not in the spotlight.
Yeah.
Spotlight
For their negative. Yeah.
Yeah, she's interesting. Yeah, so we'll see where all that goes. But yeah, we let's see, we just covered
that comment. Never marry a woman.
Oh yeah.
That's a true statement, guys. That's a good words to live by.
Words to live by.
Keely, I will take that advice to heart. I can tell you, Bitchy has been mad at me quite a bit for things, and that's never happened. So I think I got to keep her.
I would say most women don't resort to that.
No, that's very unusual. It's a very specific breed of lady.
I mean,
I guess, if we can call her a lady.
Most animals don't resort to that.
I know the dog population tends to more pee on their territory and be like, hey, this is mine. But pooping's like a special. They're like, nah, I gotta go on my own space. There's some things you shouldn't share in this world, and that's one of them. But this has been great, and I definitely would like to have you guys back on, because
definitely
we'd love to come back.
Yeah, and we're gonna actually begin here pretty soon. We're gonna begin a Wednesday night, I believe is the night we're choosing, live stream like that we'll do pretty much every week. So we'll have you on sometime too.
Definitely.
Oh, I feel so special. Thank you. Yeah. I appreciate that.
In fact, with your hat and everything, we'll just say we're having Dave Filoni on, and then you can.
You know what? I've gotten that so much, and look, it really hurts me ignoring Star Wars solely for Dave Filoni. Like, Dave's kind of my hero.
Yeah, I like Dave.
Kind of my hero. And when people said, or like, my friend Mr. PB. He put up something, and it was a picture of Dave Filoni doing an interview, and then my picture of me talking, and I like to go, oh boy.
Yeah, it's going to be the biggest chat we've ever had. We're going to be like, tonight, Dave Filoni. And maybe you can trick them for like the first 10, 15 minutes.
I'm not kidding. Like, when I sat down, I didn't say anything, because like when I rushed in and sat down, I thought, I didn't know we were talking with Dave Filoni.
Hey, I like it.
I do too.
Yeah, it's always been my thing. Before, I didn't have the hat and just a beard, and people would be like, wow. Yeah, but actually, Father Zod took a vote about the beard, and the beard won. So I'm keeping it. It might be going this summer, though. If you guys can't see behind me, it is bright. It's getting warm. I don't know how long it can sport this, because then it becomes an issue. The girl doesn't mind it, but it's just going to be Oh, Father Shot said, I can come on and you can introduce me as Brad Pitt. I'm here to verify, not Brad Pitt. Debbie says, winner stands went off on Jennifer Howell. I went off on AH and was kicked off Twitter and Twitter jail 2 days, and I've been blocked by AH. Left my ass off. Oh well, who cares? Yeah, Twitter.
They're very sensitive to AH.
They are.
Yeah, it's a really unique thing, and for the life of me, I can't figure out why. I can't figure out why Hollywood just seems to love to go with the unpopular people and the people who don't or won't make them money in the future, but they think that this person is loved. It's like, oh, they're getting this negative backlash. People must love them, obviously.
Right.
Like,
yeah, it's. I want to say too. Someone asked earlier in the chat if we were twins. We are not twins. We are just sisters.
We're 2 years apart.
Yes.
oh,
But
okay.
you're not the first to ask
We
that.
actually have gotten that quite a bit, even in
Yeah.
person.
Oh, see, I learned something new. I wasn't going to ask. I was just thinking
like,
in my
I
head, like, oh gosh, I hope someone asks this question because I don't want to be the host. Be like, hey, are you guys twins? Yeah.
So you thought we were twins, and we thought you were Dave Filoni. So
it all worked out.
Right.
It's like synergy. That is fantastic. So, anyways, thank you everybody for stopping by. Do you guys got anything else new coming out? Anything you want to promote besides that awesome Wednesday show that Dave Filoni will be showing up on?
well, I'm pretty sure this Wednesday, we're trying to decide the time. So follow us on Twitter, Force of Light Entertainment at Twitter or on Twitter. But this Wednesday, I believe, because we just got monetized about a week ago. So I believe we are going to have our monetization live stream party this Wednesday. That is the plan right now. But definitely look us up on Force of Light Entertainment on Twitter, and we'll definitely let you know there. Or just go subscribe to our channel, and you'll see it there. So
Ring that notification bell. Don't miss anything.
yeah, we don't really have anything specific we're covering this week. Just going to kind of wait and see what news comes out. Something usually comes out that's worthy covering, so we'll see.
Oh yeah, when I do my late night talks, me, Pop Culture PB, we're always like, oh man, are we gonna have something stupid to make fun of? And Google never lets me down. I have like 4 or 5 things on the night, and I'm like, oh yeah, we're ready to go. This is stupid. This is extremely stupid. Wow, you guys. Thank you, Google and mainstream media, for making my job easier. I appreciate you because there is always something stupid in the world to report. And I'm sorry, Father Zod, that I ruined your dream of becoming Brad Pitt. I apologize. But no, thank you very much, guys, for watching. Also, don't forget, tonight I have the bitchy one's glorious return. She will be here, and we're going to do a just bitching, but not really bitching about a movie called Nobody, which we thoroughly enjoyed, and there's not really very many negative critiques, so it'll be, she puts it, positive bitching. I didn't know there was a difference.
I didn't either.
So it was. Father said I ruined his dream of being rich. Yeah, I'm gonna be excited. It will be at 6. So even if you're in the UK, it shouldn't be 2 a.m. I'm not good with time zones, but I vaguely believe that should be slightly earlier. So we're going to be on at 6. We're going to be talking about that. Also drinking a little bit, so it'll be a really fun stream because that's always, well, she's going to be on the designated driver, so it'll be really funny to hear her opinions on it. Sometimes we've had to drink during these reviews, like when we did Tom and Jerry, just because it was terrible.
Just to get through it.
Just to get laugh. And I believe we're going to do Godzilla versus Kong. We're also going to see Mortal Kombat, and I actually got her to want to see it in the theater with me.
When is that? Mortal Kombat.
Check out the trailer. Go check out the Red Band trailer for Mortal Kombat. But it's a great movie about fighting. Basically.
Well, I know what it is, but does it come out in April? Or does
Oh
it come out this
yeah,
month?
it comes out I believe actually this week or next week.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
No, wait, no, it was the 16th. It could be later, but it's coming out soon, and Max is gonna do its release it on Max in the
Yeah.
theater thing. So, oh, it's midnight. Thank you, Cherry K. Well, that's still earlier. Normally, my midnight show's like 2 or 3 in the morning. So, progress.
And I just want to shout out your chat.
Your chat's awesome.
Your chat's like amazing. They're just like rocking it and complimentary and sweet and positive. Like I'm loving your chat.
Yeah, I mean, guys, if you guys ever want to come over when he doesn't have a live stream going, if you want to come check out our live stream, you guys are an awesome chat.
Yes. You are
Oh
more than
yeah,
welcome.
I've got the most wonderful chat. I've been really lucky to have all these great people on here. They're really nice. Keely says that for Force of Light Entertainment, it's a good thing. You're not going to talk about Batwoman because there wasn't a new episode last night, and there isn't going to be one until this coming Sunday. Yeah, I actually did a great showing where we make fun of the directors and producers and people who show, and I had one on Batwoman, the first episode. It was the most painful experience of my life. Listening to John Campia wasn't even that painful, and we immediately jumped over to him too. Yeah, that lady, I can't stand Caroline Drives. She is the worst, most untalented writer I think I've ever seen in my whole entire life. As far as on a television show, she is the most untalented writer ever. I stick by that statement. Like the first thing she opens up with in the interview was like, we were so proud of being diverse, and then she was talking about how Batwoman's superpower was being poor, which I didn't know was a superpower.
Right.
I had no clue that being poor was a new power, but
You learn something every day.
For real.
so anyways, thank you everybody for joining us. We had a blast. Definitely come back later tonight. Check me and Bitchy out. We're going to have fun doing that. Go check out these wonderful ladies over at Force of Light Entertainment. Do you guys still do a podcast? Because I did put that in the description as well. So
well, we basically we occasionally do certain kind of more podcasty episodes, but basically anytime we do a review that's 20 minutes or more, we usually put it over on our podcast for podcast listeners.
Oh, okay. So go check out the podcast too and go subscribe to them. And as always, remember, there is only one rule here in the Fandom Zone: kneel before Zod. Take care.
The darkness before we